All right, welcome back to the next Balls Deep episode. We are on episode 2 now. Today, I'm your host, Alex Chick. Today with me, I got a newcomer, Kamran Moos. He's also from Vendetta Sports Media. Cam, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm all right. I'm chilling. We got Jeremy back with us this week. No one else wanted to do it. Jeremy's like, fine, I'll do it. And also Courtney Plummer, our producer, making it all work back there because I do not do tech stuff. We have a good show today. We're doing rookie running backs today and their fantasy value and all that jazz. First, let's hit some news. Some big news hit the NFL yesterday. Carl Nassib, first active gay player in the NFL. I'm going to say my piece real quick. I think it's great. I think it's great for the NFL. I think it's a long time coming. It's 2021, and I'm pretty sure there's been plenty of gay people that played in the NFL, just hasn't come out, especially while they were playing. 2014, Michael Sam was gay. He came out before the draft. He did get drafted in the 7th round, but he played a little bit in the preseason, but never made it to the official NFL roster. So technically he is not the first active gay player. Carl Nassib is. Me being a Raiders fan, I think it's great for the organization. I think we are progressing towards that. I'm hoping Carl Nassib's his announcement is going to help other people, really come out. So this becomes a normal thing, which it should be. It's 2021. I don't know what the hell is the holdup. If you're bothered by it, you got to get out of your feels. Do you guys have any thoughts on it? Jeremy, let's start with you. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head with it. It's 2021. Definitely, there have been players, not definitely, but you got to assume that probably in the past there have been. So it's nice to know that Nassib felt comfortable enough to announce that to the public. And I know he's been getting great feedback from everyone. I believe his jersey sales are number 1 in the league since he made the announcement, which is great. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
We should have had someone do a post on it. Trey did drop that in the chat. No one was able to take it, and that's kind of unfortunate because I felt like that would have been a really good post. Cam, any thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree. Warren Moon, that old quarterback, he was on Twitter saying he had some teammates he knew were gay, but were never comfortable to open up about it. So hopefully with Carl coming out and getting all the support, more guys feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm hoping this is just progressing towards norm. And you know what? I feel like as much support as he got, there will be a couple sticklers that are not going to be comfortable with it. But I'm hoping a lot of people are just realizing that it's fine. We're here to play football. You know what I mean? And so same thing. But let's go ahead and get into these rookie running backs. I have a lot written down here. There's not a lot that I like about some of this rookie draft class and their places. I think it's going to be interesting though. Let's get the big one out of the way. Naji Harris. He's got to be the best one here. He's got to be the best one here. Like best running back, best position. Who's the next guy on the Steelers running back list? The Benny Snell?
Yeah, Benny Snell's the next guy up.
I'm sorry, Benny Snell's not gonna. He can't hold Naji Harris. He can't hold his jockstrap. He really can't. If you guys have any thoughts on that, I really don't. Naji Harris is gonna be the best one. If you're looking for a rookie running back, Naji Harris is the way to go. Cam, let's start with you. Anything about Naji Harris and his impact in Pittsburgh?
Najee Harris, I am way higher on compared to I think anyone else. I'm willing to take Najee Harris the first within the top 5, probably 5th for me.
You're ready.
I'm all in on Najee Harris. He's gonna get every touch possible. Big Ben's gonna dump it off to him. It's gonna be great. I'm all for it.
Jeremy, what do you think?
I like Najee Harris as a runner. I really liked him in college. He's definitely the number 1 back for me, especially as the number 1 rookie back for sure. I think top 5 is definitely a stretch. I think first round's definitely a stretch as well, just because of the way Pittsburgh runs their offense. They throw the ball away too much, and they've been a committee backfield since Le'Veon Bell left, so for the past 3 seasons at least. James Conner has not gotten every touch. Jalen Samuels was involved. Snell was involved. I think Snell's going to continue to be involved. Not to the extent that maybe he was last year, but I don't think Harris is going to get every touch as a rookie. I like him. He's definitely going to be a RB1, borderline RB1, RB2 for a team, I think. But I don't see first round potential for Harris.
I think I'm closer to Cam on this. I don't think like I said, top 5 is a stretch. But you know what? If you pick him top 5 and he ends up being a top 5 fantasy running back, I mean, you look like a whiz. But I don't know. Like my whole thing with your thing, Jeremy, is that like James Conner is not Naji Harris. I think Naji Harris is a lot better than James Conner, and I think we're seeing that in the last couple of years. We're like, okay, James Conner, he has potential, and just never lived off that. He never got there. I think Naji Harris. I think I'm closer to Cam. I think he's going to get a lot of touches. Trey wrote a post about Mike Tomlin saying that he works his running backs to death. That's going to be Naji Harris. I think he's going to be the go-to. I think Benny Snell will be involved. I just don't think, like you said, to extend how he was last year. I think his role really just diminishes. I don't know about you guys though, but I feel like the second spot for rookie running backs, and there is potential here. I think it's wide open. Jeremy, let's start with you. Who do you have? Who do you think is actually your second best out here?
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to credit the comment that Jackson just made, the offensive line of the Steelers. That's another thing that I should have addressed in my point. The offensive line of the Steelers is not as strong as it has been in the past couple of years. It's probably at its weakest in the past couple of years. So that could factor in as well. Harris is too much of a threat in the passing game, though, for I think that to be a big issue. I think he should do just fine. So my RB2 for rookies is actually it's Javonte Williams of the Denver Broncos. I really liked Williams as a player last year for UNC. He played great alongside of Michael Carter, and I think he's going to have a similar role to his college role alongside of Melvin Gordon, who is getting up there in age for running back. So his touches are definitely going to be limited. Phillip Lindsay's gone. He's in Houston. I think Williams has a prime opportunity to jump in as the main back in that two-way backfield, and he could produce a ton of fantasy points.
All right. How you feeling about that though, Cam? Before we get to your second one, how do you feeling about that? Or is he your second one as well?
Javonte is not my second one, but the only thing I'm hesitant about is just that offense in general. First of all, obviously, like you mentioned, they're sharing with Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, he is aging. He's definitely, I'd say Javonte is the better back, but he's still going to get touches in the offense. In terms of the passing game, there's way too many pass-catching options. I think Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, any running back, just won't get the volume that you want. So I'm just not as high from that.
I'm not. He's not third for me. He's up there though. My big thing with Javonte is I see him more as a dynasty investment. For me, he would be more of a like if redraft. If he's available in the late rounds, I'm like, okay, I'm looking at because I'm expecting Melvin Gordon to probably get injured this year, and that's my whole thing. He's getting up there in age. He has had some injuries in the past. I can see him getting injured here, and Javonte Williams really because I couldn't name you the third running back on Denver, and I'm pretty sure it's some guy that could be eligible for who the fuck is that guy. So I mean, Javonte Williams, he's third for me. He's up there though. I think. To Cam's point that there is a big question mark there. There's a big question mark in Denver's offense, especially Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater at this moment. I know we kind of early, like in our chat, we kind of speculated on it. Deshaun Watson goes to the Broncos. Okay, now we're talking because you have a credible quarterback. But with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock, who are okay, just don't really wow you anymore, right? They don't wow you. So it's definitely a question mark. I think Denver's offense will be a little bit more stable now that they have I think they're having the same offensive coordinator, the same offense this year. I think like the last couple of years they've been changing offensive coordinators like it was their underwear, right? So I don't know. I think their offense will be better this year. Javonte Williams will be a part of that. I'm not sold on him this year. I'm more if I'm playing Dynasty, I'm like, okay, this is a guy to invest in because Melvin Gordon will be gone, especially if this guy impresses. Before we move on, Jeremy, any rebuttals for me right here?
Yeah, the thing I love about Williams that we hadn't hit yet is he's got very fresh legs. He didn't get the ball too much in his first 2 seasons at UNC, and then last year he really exploded. So he's got really fresh legs. He hasn't been used nearly as much as some of the other running backs we've seen, like Naji Harris, who, not that that's going to limit Harris or similar to Jonathan Taylor when he was at Wisconsin. He rushed for over 2,000 yards in, I believe, 3 seasons. So that's a lot of wear and tear on his legs, whereas Williams doesn't have that. So I think he's going to be able to kind of come right out of the gates and surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I like that. I think, and yeah, you do like Michael Carter, and that's a good thing about having that, duo, right? You're not tiring them either them out, and both get to impress, and they'll still be fresh enough for the NFL if they're talented enough like these guys. Let's go ahead and get to your second guy, Cam. What do you got?
I mean, it's Travis Etienne. Pretty. I think a lot of people agree that he's probably the number 2, and I'm with it. I wrote up a post about it. I'm gonna bring up a few numbers here. So, last season, Jaguars got rid of Keelan Cole, Chris Conley, and Tyler Eifert. That's over 200 targets in that offense. And then we're seeing all these reports. He's going to be lined out wide, lined out in the slot. He's going to be a pass-catching option, like just top threat for Lawrence and everything. I think it's very possible he gets 60 receptions.
Okay.
He could hit 90 targets easily from all those guys leaving. And if people want to bring up James Robinson, James Robinson was great. He was. But do you really think he's more talented than Travis Etienne? And then why did they take him in the first round as well? I think at the very worst, he'll come along at the back half of the season, like we see like with a lot of these rookies, like Cam Akers last year. He just became a league winner. DeAndre Swift came along at the end. At the very worst, he's going to come along and potentially be a league winner.
Okay. Jeremy, any rebuttal?
Yeah, so I have Etienne at 3, but I believe we're thinking kind of differently. I have Etienne at 3 just because I don't really like the rest of the rookie running backs. I wasn't a big Etienne guy as we got along closer to the draft. There's a lot of questions about him as a receiver. He was not a good pass-catching back at Clemson. Despite what people may think, they blew out a lot of teams. He was open a lot because they had so many other weapons. But really, he was not that great of a pass catcher. So that's definitely going to be a concern. Drops will be a concern. I love the situation he's in, and I give credit for that. With Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence as the quarterback, I think he's coming into a great situation where he's very familiar with what he's going to be asked to do. But I don't necessarily think that he's going to get the number of touches that people think he's going to get because James Robinson's there, because they have some solid receivers like Laviska Shenault, who he was a running back in college as well. Shenault was a running back and a receiver in college, and they didn't really use him like that last year. And Urban Meyer knows talent, and I think Urban Meyer is going to use Shenault kind of in that role that they're describing Etienne to be in. And, they got some other receivers as well that are going to eat some of those empty touches that you had touched on. So Etienne's at 3 for me, but I'm not too confident in taking him in the high stages of a draft.
I'm actually lower on Etienne than both of y'all. I love James Robinson. I think, and I understand drafting Etienne as a first round like that. I could see that point. However, that could be like they're moving him. They're moving him everywhere. He is like not necessarily limited to a gadget guy, but he is part of the gadget. I think Urban Meyer coming from a college, he's going to bring a little bit fresh new offense. He's going to put pieces everywhere. He might put, and I think you were just talking about Shenault, like he might put him in the backfield for a couple plays just to throw defenses off. I like James Robinson. I think James Robinson is going to be a little bit more of the lead back. I think Etienne's going to see, he's going to get his meal in there, but I think he's more going to be receiving. Did he say that? I don't know if he said that or not. If he did, then there you go. Third down. He's limited to third down. I think James Robinson's going to get it done, though. And then you were talking about the targets. I get that. I think, Shenault, he's going to see more targets this year. Marvin Jones Jr., they did get him a little bit better than Chris Conley and all that. And then you still have DJ Chark. I think DJ Chark's going to probably make a huge – he's gonna go up, especially in the passing offense that's going to be the Jaguars. I have Etienne at 4. I had Javonte Williams at 3rd. I had Etienne at 4. I'm not happy with the situation he's in necessarily just because he's not the lead back. And I think James Robinson, I think he's going to be the lead back. I really don't doubt that. So Etienne will get his touches, but James Robinson's a young back too. He's going to get. I mean, guy's hungry. I feel like he's really gonna take over. Before I get to my second one, Cam, what do you think? What are you thinking right now?
If you want to say Urban Meyer, if you're going to believe the Urban Meyer talk, if you want to believe Coach Speak, go ahead. You can believe Coach Speak every year. I remember last year, if you believe Coach Speak, Curtis Samuel was going to be a god in fantasy. So you can have all that stuff. But I think you guys – I mean, James Robinson was great last year. They had no other offense. Like, Minshew was just that bad. And was it Jake Luton? Yeah, that's fine. You can hand the ball.
Minshew slander won't be – that guy looks – he's way too drippy. There is no slander for Gardner Minshew in here. I will not tolerate it. I will not tolerate the Gardner Minshew guy. Like, no.
If you have him under center, you're going to be handing it off to whoever's in the backfield. It's James Robinson. He got all those touches. Travis Etienne's going to eat into that. He's going to eat a lot more in the passing game. I'm all for it.
All right, this one as where you guys are rating so far. Right now, my second guy right now is it's Trey Sermon. I got Trey Sermon. I love the 49ers offense as far as the running ability. I got to expect Raheem Mostert to get injured. That's just like going off injury history. I'm not trying to predict injuries for him, but I'm calling a spade a spade. The guy's going to get injured. He's going to be injured a couple games. I think Trey Sermon is actually good. You kind of brought it up earlier with the Jeremy Rinaldi talk, the fucking Javonte Williams talk. He's fresh, okay? He didn't really come into the scene till his last year at Ohio State. I think he's fresh. Yeah, and and we're going off a very small sample, but I'm a believer in Trey Sermon right now. So I think actually Trey Sermon, as far as rookie running backs go, he's second for me. And I think he can make immediate impact this year. Raheem Mostert, great back. I had him in fantasy last year. I think he's a good back, but I think, Trey Sermon, he's a good guy. I think he could really push Mostert. He cut his hair. He did cut his hair. He's got a mullet now. He's got a mullet. He still has the handlebars, doesn't he? We're going back to Gardner Minshew. I'm just replying to the comments. He's got the handlebar. I think he's got a mullet now. I think he does. He's still good. Rough year. That's all it was. It was Jacksonville. I can't blame him. It was Jacksonville's fault. But I like Trey Sermon this year. I really do. I think he'll push Mostert, and I think Kyle Shanahan uses most of his backs anyway. I think Trey Sermon's going to see a lot of that. And I think that's why they drafted him. And he was like a low risk, high reward kind of guy for me. He's fresh. He really impressed at the end of the season. I'm big on Trey Sermon.
Was he third round pick? What was he?
He was.
I think he was third. Was he third?
Yeah.
Okay. Low risk, third round guy. I think he's got tons of potential, fantasy wise, and as just an NFL running back. Cam
could easily see. I don't know. Maybe it's like the hair what they got, but I keep thinking like Kareem Hunt's situation when he stepped in. Who was it that got hurt when Kareem Hunt was a rookie?
I can't remember. For the Chiefs, Spencer Ware.
Spencer Ware, yep.
Spencer Ware got hurt preseason. You could see Raheem Mostert getting hurt at any moment. If he gets hurt, I'm all in on Trey Sermon. The only thing is Shanahan busts out any running back any given week. Do you remember when Jeff Wilson was going off for like 20 points for 3 weeks? And then
dude, it really is. Yeah.
Was it JaMychal Hasty was getting touches? Man, I don't know about Shanahan because I know he's not going to just straight feed someone consistently like that.
Yeah, no, I mean it's hard, but I really think I really think he's it. I think if I'm picking, I'm not going to pick Mostert this year. I won't take him just because I'm so sold on Trey Sermon being the lead guy. If I take a 49ers running back, it's going to be Trey Sermon. And I have no problem. And I think his fantasy value, if he impresses this year, I think his fantasy value, it just explodes if you're playing Dynasty. I think if you're investing him in Dynasty. Because Raheem Mostert, if he keeps having this injury problem, he's gone. I feel like he's going to another team easily. So, Jeremy, what do you think?
Yeah, so I have a couple things about this. First, I don't mean to call you out. I don't know. Not that this is calling out anyway, but I just wanted to add he was the lead running back when he was at Oklahoma, so I don't think his legs are as fresh as Javonte Williams.
Oh, I don't watch college.
I had to throw that in. I don't
watch college.
His legs definitely aren't as fresh as Javonte Williams.
That's fair.
I don't have Sermon in my top 5 because of how crowded that 49ers running back room is, and I'll get to this when we hit the last segment of the show. I got a guy in that running back room who I'm gonna touch on. But yeah, like Cam said, Jeff Wilson a couple of times came in 3 different times on the goal line, had a 3-touchdown game. Jermichael Hasty came in. I believe they added Wayne Gallman, who was decent for the Giants. They do have a great offensive line, so I think that will help whoever is in the backfield for San Francisco. And Shanahan does run a great offense. I think Sermon is a much greater risk, Alex, than you had said. For me, it's a boom or bust. I'm going to lean towards bust just because I didn't love him when I saw him at Ohio State. Thought he looked okay to me. I thought his offensive line made him look a lot better than he was. But this is one of those where you're either spot on or you're just dead wrong. So if I'm dead wrong and
I'm not as bold as Cam. I'm not gonna take him like top 5 or anything. And like I said, he might be a flower. He might be a flyer for me, But if I'm picking any guy from the 49ers as a running back, I'm picking Trey Sermon. And I think, and so you might be right. It might be boom or bust, but I think it's definitely a boom. I think we're going boom boom in here. I think we got Naji Harris, we got Trey Sermon, Javonte Williams. We talked about Etienne. Let's talk about Michael Carter from the Jets. He is now on the Jets. You touched on him a little bit, Jeremy, earlier with him and the pairing of Javonte Williams at UNC. How do you feel about Michael Carter?
Yeah, I liked him at UNC as well. I like him as a running back, but it's a similar thing to what we talked about last week when we were discussing Zach Wilson's. He is on the Jets. That's
almost undraftable at that point.
A lot of concerns in its own. How many Jets running backs have we drafted in the past 10 years? I can't think too many.
I feel bad for anyone that drafted Le'Veon Bell last year. I feel bad for anyone that did that.
Exactly.
That was
exactly. Like, how many Jets running backs or Jets skill players can you trust? Not too many. I like Carter. I like what he brings to the table, but I don't like that team. And I also like – it's kind of similar with what they did last year when they drafted LaMichael Pirine out of Florida. I really liked LaMichael Pirine coming out of college, but I was like, damn, that sucks. He got drafted by the Jets. Yeah. Too bad. Not even going to look at him in fantasy. And it's not that I'm not going to look at Michael Carter, but I wouldn't touch him anywhere in the middle rounds just because that offense is bad. The offensive line's not bad, but
it's getting better. It's definitely improving.
The best part of their team. So
it's definitely an improvement of what it's been in the past years. Michael Carter for you, Cam.
I'm on the fence, but I think he could be. I mean, not to talk crap to you, Alex, but I like him more than Trey Sermon, honestly.
Whatever. You can talk crap to me. You're just gonna expect me to talk crap back or talk shit. I'm gonna talk shit back. Don't worry.
There's absolutely no one in that running back room before in the draft after the 3rd round. Before the next night, I was thinking, man, Michael Carter's still on the board. Jets got that early pick. I want him to go there so bad. That's like a perfect fit. They went with it. He's gonna get plenty of touches, I think.
So you're high on Michael Carter.
I'm not. I don't love the class, but yeah, I think he's going to get plenty of touches.
Wait, are you a Jets fan?
No.
He's a Packers fan.
I thought just because you said you wanted him to go to the Jets, I didn't know.
Yeah, I think it'll be on Zach Wilson if the offense can keep the ball going, like if they can just keep the ball in general. If Zach Wilson's good, I think it'll open up the run game. They're thinking about signing Morgan Moses now at right tackle. The offensive line's really improving there. I like it.
I'm just glad they're fixing the offensive line, after Sam Darnold left. That shit. I'm a big Sam Darnold believer, guys, and so like the fact that they're now fixing the offensive line for this guy, I'm a little pissed about it because I think Sam Darnold's gonna have a great year this year. As far as I think he'll get touches. I don't know how much is plenty though. He still has Tevin Coleman there. You mentioned LaMichael Pirine. Perrin. I don't know how to say his name. Ty Johnson kind of came onto the scene last year too. For me, it's a crowded running back room. I like him better than everyone else on the list that we haven't mentioned. And we'll get more into that because it's not impressive. I think he has potential. It's just how well he does in training camp, preseason, as far as proving himself to see if he could be the lead guy. If he could be the lead guy, I could see that. But I don't know. I'm glad the offensive line's coming together. I think the running backs will be a little bit better. I just don't like drafting running backs on bad teams too. And Jets are a bad team. And so, because more likely Jets are going to be down 20, 30 points, and they're going to be trying to throw. So I'm not big onto this running back group. Michael Carter, it really just depends on how well he does in training camp and preseason to see if he actually gets that lead role. Cam, since you're big on him, what do you got? What do you think about that? Like about what I just said? I think I'm not saying he'll be last in the depth chart. I think he might be second or third. And so I'm not really ecstatic, at least, about his draft value this year. Maybe if in Dynasty, I could see it. And mostly rookie running backs are more valuable in Dynasty. I think he has a chance to really prove himself this year. But I don't – where would you rate him? Where would you draft him? If you were like, okay, Michael Carter, who are you drafting Michael Carter over as far as running backs go, any running back?
You talking to me or Cam? Sorry.
I was talking to Cam. Sorry, my bad. My bad.
So I'm out like just rookies or any running back?
Any running back. Who would you draft Michael Carter over?
Well, like you said, Raheem Mostert.
Mm-hmm.
I think Raheem Mostert lost his upside with Trey Sermon, other guys there. Michael Carter just has that upside. With a late round flyer, like 10th round, I'd take him easy.
Yeah, kind of like a bench guy. You got your starters now. Michael Carter, just in case, keeping him stashed.
I think absolutely he will not be at the bottom of the depth chart. Ty Johnson, you can get out of here. You think Ty Johnson will get any notable, useful touches other than third down? No, not a chance. LaMichael Pirine, Jeremy said he liked him coming out of Florida. I thought he was all right coming out of Florida. I didn't think he looked great last year. It was also behind that way worse line, so we'll see. But I think Michael Carter's more talented there as well.
Okay. What do you think? What are you thinking about all this, Jeremy? About everything said.
We're talking a little about like how we draft running backs. So in my drafts, I like to draft running backs early. I take.
Oh, me too.
I take either two in the first 2 rounds, or by the 3rd round, I have both of my starting running backs. So the way I like to do it is I take a starter, another starter, and then either if I can grab a 3rd starting running back as my flex, I would definitely do that. And then I like to take, instead of running backs who are on bad teams, I'd rather take a running back who's maybe second on the depth chart on a good team. Mm-hmm. So it'd be tough to picture myself having Michael Carter this year, just for the reasons we've explained. And to touch on what Cam said a little earlier about Zach Wilson being the quarterback, typically teams struggle early when they have a rookie quarterback in. They got a lot of pressure on them. They don't really know the system. They haven't faced defenses as talented as the ones they'll be facing. So the offense tend to be very stagnant with rookie quarterbacks. So that's just a couple of the reasons why I would avoid Michael Carter in my drafts. And then, it's not that I don't like him as a player. It's I don't like his landing spot. And that's the same thing with a lot of these running backs.
Yeah, and that I feel the same way. I was looking at them like they're really good talent. There's just really kind of not a great spot for them, at least for redraft purposes. Side note, since we keep talking about redraft, I know Trey's like punching the air right now because he's a big auction guy. He's a big auction guy, and we keep talking about draft, and he's like, you know what? Shut up. He's like, I know he's going crazy right now watching this. He's like, stop talking about drafting guys, talking about auctioning people, their worth and all that. Jeremy, you said so far I have named 5 running backs. I got Naji Harris, Javonte Williams, Etienne, Trey Sermon, and Michael Carter. But Trey Sermon was not part of your top 5. Was Michael Carter part of your top 5?
Carter was 5, yeah. So
who are we missing from this list? Or from the rookie running backs that is in your top 5? I would like to hear that.
So my fourth running back is a running back who I loved. I had him as my RB2 in the draft, to a lot of people's surprise. I hate the landing spot. So it's Kenneth Gainwell, Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
Loved him at Memphis. He started over Antonio Gibson, and Antonio Gibson looked great for Washington last year. I think Gainwell's even better than Gibson. He's a pass catcher, and he's a speed back. He gets to the outside so quickly, hits the holes so quickly. If he was on a different team, I would take him a lot earlier than most people would. But he's on the Eagles. Miles Sanders is somewhat injury prone, so he can get hurt. So if I was going to take a flyer on any running back or any rookie running back in the later rounds, I would choose Gainwell over the rest of them just because Sanders can get hurt. The running back room isn't as crowded as it has been in recent years, and they're kind of restructuring that offense. And I'm kind of imagining that it's going to be a little bit like Baltimore's with Lamar Jackson, because Hurts is somewhat similar to Lamar Jackson, maybe not as fast, but he kind of plays a similar style. And Baltimore loves to run the ball. So I think there's a chance that Gainwell's much more involved than people think. I loved him at Memphis, so I'm going to stick with him. I'll keep him in the top 5 here.
Cool, man. All right, Cam, before I get into my piece, what are you thinking?
I also really like Kenneth Gainwell. He wasn't my running back 2 in the draft, but I was a big fan of Gainwell. I think he's super versatile. He's great passing catching back. I think he might be the best pass catching back in the class, honestly.
Yeah.
But Miles Sanders there, Miles Sanders definitely getting the majority of touches. You're banking on that injury there. And then Jalen Hurts is their RB1, so there's that too. So I don't think I agree. I like Gainwell. The landing spot's too much for me. Like, when you have a running quarterback like that, I love J.K. Dobbins, but there's not a chance I'm drafting him because of Lamar Jackson. There's not a chance.
I don't know. Okay, keep going.
We'll argue that later. Fine.
Yeah, okay.
Just there's not enough carries there. Philly, they're going to be playing from behind all the damn time. I'm not in on Gainwell because of the landing spot.
I really like Baltimore. I mean, Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins. I think both of them have huge potential this year. Lamar Jackson or not. I mean, we make fun of Lamar Jackson all the time. He's a running back. However, I mean, they're still getting points. I figure at this point, the Ravens would, be forced to pass by just defenses putting 8 in the box. But I don't know. They haven't figured it out yet. I don't know. But I don't know. I really like Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. I think they're both at least draftable guys. There's a lot of running back committees that I wouldn't touch. And you got to think, they have pretty good stats for fantasy points. And that was with, Mark Ingram for the first pretty much half of the season. Because I made a fucking blunder and spent fucking $30 on Mark Ingram. That was like one of the worst mistakes of my life. I wanted to kill myself. You want to talk about panic buying? You want to talk? I don't want to talk about Drew Lock either. You want to talk about panic buying? I panicked. Like I was like, yeah, I'll slow play it a little bit, and then I didn't have a fucking running back, and I was like, I need a running back. So I wasn't sold on J.K. Dobbins or Gus Edwards that year, and then I spent $30 on Mark Ingram just to get him washed out. It was $29 on Drew Lock. Look, I overpaid, but let's not exaggerate. Okay, it wasn't 40. It was 29, which is bad in its own sense. It is bad in its own sense.
Is that why whenever I shit talk Drew Lock, you're always defending him? Because you're spending so much money on him?
I'm a big Drew Lock guy. I think Drew Lock.
Oh my! I actually like Drew Lock too.
I also like how he can not even make a screen pass complete. Yeah,
because he doesn't do anything to back up what we like.
I know. I'm like, I like Drew Lock, and then I'm like,
I'm giving him one more year. I'm giving him this year. If it's not this year, they got to get rid of him.
Cam, I think it was you and Taylor Kramer. He's not here no more. But you guys were like, Broncos top 5 offense if Deshaun Watson goes, right? Well,
that situation is perfect. That offense is so good.
I don't want to see, and that's it. The offense is so good. Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler's part of that. I know I'm missing
Sutton's coming back.
So that's why I was like Drew Lock. I'll spend a little bit more on Drew Lock, and he bust. It was a bust for me, and I hate that. Now I don't know if I want to take Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater, and I probably won't know, and I probably won't take either of them, and that's a horrible situation. But if Deshaun Watson gets traded to the Broncos, maybe I'll take. I'll spend money on that. But anyway, we got off topic. Let me get to Kenneth Gainwell here. I think you have a great point, Jeremy, about the Eagles, having Miles Sanders. Hold on. I want to timestamp that auction stuff. I think that was good. But Miles Sanders is injury prone. Boston Scott, he kind of fizzled out this year, so he wasn't as prevalent in the offense. Kerryon Johnson, they did get Kerryon Johnson. I think he'll be in the mix as well. And that's ultimately what put him out of the my top 5. Not Kerryon Johnson's, super star-spangled awesome or anything. He's okay, but it was just, it's a crowded room. Kenneth Gainwell, I think, and he's going to see a lot of screens. He might even line up as wide receiver. We're talking about other people. He might line up as wide receiver too. I mean, they still got like Greg Ward there. They did get who they get Javonte Smith. They got Javonte Smith, which will help. But I mean, they still got guys like Greg Ward, so that wide receiver core is not impressive. But Kenneth Gainwell, I think he is a really good flyer to invest in. I can't expect Kerryon Johnson to really wow anybody, and you can almost expect Miles Sanders to be injured a couple weeks here and there. So I actually like the fit there. As far as future reference, he might really get there. Did we get everyone on your top 5, Cam? We got all top 5 yours?
Naji, Etienne, Javonte, Carter, and then I guess Gainwell. I personally, I don't like anyone else. Like, I'm really not a fan of drafting anyone else.
I feel like the only name that's really kind of relevant is Ramondre. I can't fucking say his name.
Stevenson. Yeah,
I got one more.
Him and then one other guy. But Stevenson, I could easily see. Do you remember 2016 LeGarrette Blount on the Patriots?
Yeah,
that's the best case scenario.
I am not.
I don't like Stevenson.
That's the best case scenario.
As a running back, I don't even know, but like as looking at his fit, this is a horrible place. This is horrible for him. He's got James White, Damian Harris, Sony Michel still is in there, and I fully expect the Patriots to use all of those running backs. Now, why they got 4 running backs that can play okay makes no sense to me. Usually you get about 2 or 3 guys that are good, maybe, or you get about 2 guys and then maybe 2 guys that are like, okay, they can still fill in. I think all 4 of these guys can play any given day for the Patriots. It might just depend on how practice goes. If someone says someone doesn't like Belichick and talks back to him that week, they might not play that week. Nothing to do with their talent, just might not play. I can never figure out the Patriots running backs. This is part of the reason why I hate running back committees. I hate trying to figure them out. I don't want to do it. It's too much. I only have so much brain power to figure out some things, and I won't ever try to figure out running back committees out. Who was the? Well, let's go and get to that. What do you think about Stevenson? Jeremy, I know you said you didn't like him, so go more on that.
Yeah. I remember when we were watching like the bowl game against Florida where he performed well in that game, but I remember me and Trey were talking and Trey said he's a worse Jalen Samuels. And I agree with that. He kind of honestly reminds me of Sony Michel, like a worse Sony Michel. I don't think Stevenson will be great in the pass game. I don't think he's a great pass blocker. I think he looked decent at the Senior Bowl blocking, but I don't think he's a great blocker in game. Mm-hmm. I think with the backfield there, he's very limited. So I wouldn't expect much of him.
Even Dynasty? Even Dynasty you're not investing?
No, I don't think so. Just because the Patriots cycle in guys every year.
Unheard of guys.
Yeah,
they just fucking throw someone in.
It's hard to stash a Patriots player. Like I can't really think of any Patriots player that we've waited on that's became good. Like we waited a year on Damian Harris, and he's below average still. So I think it's hard.
He had a pretty good year last year. I mean, good enough to where and it still pisses me off. But Trey wrote an article saying that he was better than Josh Jacobs. That shit pissed me off, and I still remember that.
I don't think that's true. No,
I did just want to add that did make me mad.
I don't think that's true. I did just want to add a couple things with Kenneth Gainwell, though. You brought up Kerryon Johnson. I don't think Kerryon Johnson. I think Gainwell will be the RB2 in that offense. I think Johnson's a between the tackles guy. That's really all he can do. I don't think he can stretch the field, and he's not a threat in the pass game, not nearly like Gainwell. And I pulled up some Miles Sanders stats. So he played 12 games. He only had more than 15 attempts 4 times. So as an RB1, I believe he was drafted like first or second round in snake drafts.
People were big on Miles Sanders, and like I kind of got it, but I kind of didn't. I can see
it's not PPR. He's just not the workhorse that people think he is.
He's really not. And so I'm not big on the Eagles offensive line either. I think their offensive line needs work. So I mean, people were big on Miles Sanders last year, and I can see maybe PPR wise. But as far as that, and Trey's gonna get mad about PPR too because he thinks that's the stupidest shit ever in the world. But
yeah, I don't know why he's against PPR, but
his thing is like you could throw 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and you'll get at least 1 point for it.
Yeah,
and so that's his whole thing. And I'm like, whatever. Like then now I just have to.
But then you structure your draft that so you get those points.
You mean adapt and overcome to a PPR league? I don't know, exactly. Jeremy. I don't know if Trey can do it. I don't know. So,
Trey hates everything. Trey shuts everything down. Trey has never said, "Oh, good take. Oh, I like this." No, Trey just hates everything. So I'm not taking any of that.
It does make me laugh though. You know what? The guy is opinionated and he's right a lot of the times. But like opinion stuff like that, I don't get it. I really just don't. That's purely opinion based. There's like and same thing with the auction. That's purely opinion based. That's just your preference. Like, I feel like
he gives like a good rationale though. Like every time he has one of those takes, like I always understand where he's coming from. Like I may not like agree with it, but I do like understand where he's coming from.
He definitely has a reason for everything.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. I did want to bring up one more running back though.
Okay.
And that's Chuba Hubbard. He's with Carolina. So I don't like him either, but he's got a great situation. Mike Davis is gone, so he's literally going to be the Mike Davis. McCaffrey's got hurt the past 2 years, right? I believe he's been the past 2 years.
I don't know if he got hurt the year. I can't remember if he got hurt.
I know. Did.
I tell you what, I know he got injured last year. I took him first overall.
Yeah, I think he missed a couple in 2019 as well.
Took him first overall last year. That worked out great.
Yeah.
I would have won my fantasy league. Not the one, not the site one, but my family one. I would have won that one. I drafted a great team. I had great running backs, and then Christian McCaffrey got injured, and I got fucked. And I still got to the semifinals with no Christian McCaffrey. I was pissed. Oh my god. Sorry. Go ahead.
So in college, I thought Hubbard was very overrated for Oklahoma State. His 2019 stats were totally inflated just because he played in the Big 12. In 2020, he didn't perform nearly as well as he did in 2019. So that's why he slipped in the draft. He landed in a great spot, though. Mike Davis is gone, so he's going to be the RB2 to Christian McCaffrey, who gets hurt a lot. They still don't have many weapons. So if McCaffrey gets hurt, then Hubbard's got a chance to produce for a fantasy team.
God, I was pissed. My team was super good. Sorry, I saw that comment, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Hubbard, banking on that injury again. I really don't like that.
Oh, Alex might have. Oh, no.
But,
again, I'm still here. We're still good.
I'm not totally for, drafting a guy as a pure handcuff like that. But, if he does get injured, he'll be the top waiver guy for sure.
Oh, easily. We had a guy that used to write here. His name was Jordan Dangle. Big Oklahoma State guy. And you talk about people overrating the guy. This guy, he was like his number 2, number 3 on the list. Like, he was above either, Naji Harris or Etienne. Like, that's how big he was on this guy. And I was just no. But I feel like I don't like the fit. Kind of like the same thing last year. No one was like looking at Mike Davis like this is a great option. It was more of a waiver wire thing. Like, okay, Christian McCaffrey's injured. I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep and try to get Mike Davis as well.
Yeah.
And so that's my whole thing with Chu. I really don't. I mean, even as a long-term thing, I don't dynasty. I don't like him.
No.
I think he was just an insurance policy.
It's just an insurance policy to think about.
It's just an insurance policy.
He's like a worse Alex Madison. Like Alex Madison, he's Dalvin Cook's insurance policy, but Madison's definitely better.
I was really big on Latavius Murray when he was. He was with the Saints last year. But I like
just like the Raiders guys.
Yeah, well, yeah, they hold a special, like, in my heart, they hold a special part. Like, I'm like, I still like him. I think he was a really good not really good running back. He was a good running back for me. I mean, and that's Raiders and all. Any more rookie running backs you guys want to talk about? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and just get into the who the fuck is that guy and then get out of here. So,
speaking of Mike Davis, he's on the Falcons. I thought they'd pick up some like really big workhorse guy. Maybe I don't think we saw Mike Davis do that last year. They drafted I don't know if you guys know him, Javion Hawkins.
I think they signed him. I don't think they drafted him.
Yeah. Well, okay. Before anyone shits on him, James Robinson also came out of nowhere, so there's always that potential. Javion Hawkins, he was like, they called him PlayStation in college. He moves like Tariq Cohen, super shifty guy. Tariq Cohen, he came out of nowhere. He was like a top 12 running back that 1 year off just, catches alone. So if you're playing PPR, half PPR, I mean, God forbid PPR if you're Trey, but you know what I mean? I think you could have some value there. So that's just one other guy I wanted to name.
I really liked Hawkins. In the summer last year, I expected big things for the Louisville offense. I remember I wrote a couple pieces about that, and then Louisville's offense was just bad last year. So he didn't perform as well as I wanted him to. I think he definitely could have got drafted if that team played better as a whole. I like what he brings to the table, though, and I do like his spot in Atlanta. So I don't know. If things go his way, he could definitely find himself involved in that offense. But based on his size, he's a smaller guy, so I don't think he's going to overtake Mike Davis or anything. Or even if Mike Davis gets hurt, I think they'll bring someone in that'll act as more of the RB1.
Yeah, the only one I really had left on this list that was rookie running back was Jamar Jefferson, and he plays for Detroit. And that's pretty much that was it. That's all I really have to say about that. He plays for Detroit. Jared Goff is quarterback, and I am not a Jared Goff guy. So, and I've written a couple pieces on that. So, let's go ahead and get into the who the fuck is that guy. Cam, who is your candidate today?
I'll let you go first. You go first.
Okay, well, I'll let Jeremy go first. Jeremy, you go first then.
All right, so when I was looking at this, I decided I was going to stick with the rookie running backs trend. I talked about it earlier. It's going to be a guy for the Niners. It's Elijah Mitchell. He was a sixth-round pick for the San Francisco 49ers out of Louisiana Lafayette. He's a quick but sturdy back he's built like an all-around back. He's great in the receiving game, and he's great on the ground. And he really led the Raging Cajuns ground game, they had a couple other guys in the backfield as well. I believe, I don't know if he got drafted, but they had Trey Ragas, I believe was his last name. I think he's in the league. He's in the league somewhere. He didn't get drafted, but he's in the league somewhere. But Mitchell was head and shoulders above him. With the way that Shanahan runs his offense and with that kind of situation in there, how he utilizes every one of his weapons, I could totally see Mitchell getting a chance to step in. I believe he ran a 4.4 40, so he's a quick guy. I think he's definitely quicker than Sermon. If a couple of those guys get hurt, Mostert maybe Jeff Wilson, maybe Sermon, maybe Jermichael Hasty, maybe two of those guys. I don't know where he is on the depth chart right now, but I think he's a talented running back, and he's definitely got a chance to prove it with Shanahan, who loves to utilize backfield weapons.
Okay. Cam, do you need more time, or you?
Yeah, does that have to be running back? Could be another guy.
It could be anyone that you know. Like, well, I would say not anyone you know. Anyone that you just fucking find somebody, some guy that you've never heard of before.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up Nico Collins. He was a rookie. He's at Michigan. I go to Madison, so not really a big Michigan guy, but he's big boy. I think he's 6'4". I think we saw him coming out of the draft. He really, before his last season in Michigan, he's just a big body, like can't really move much. But then we saw him go to the Senior Bowl, and we saw him, just run around these cornerbacks. So he's on the Texans.
Okay, that was going to be one of my questions. What team is he on?
It's a questionable offense, but I think other than Brandon Cooks, Kiki Cutie, sure, that's someone. But I think Nico Collins could step in if I'm not going to touch the situation. If somehow Deshaun Watson is still the quarterback, could have value. I think Tyrod Taylor could give him some value. I think Nico Collins could be something.
There's gotta be value somewhere. Someone's got to score points. So
yeah, someone for Houston's got to do something.
That you want to talk about open field market? That is it right there. I pick a guy and hope for the best. My guy, and I don't know, he did play a little bit last year. This is more just me wanting to shit on Joe Mixon. I hate Joe Mixon. I wrote that he sucked last year. I wrote before the season, he sucks as a fantasy running back. And year after year, people were big on him. I just don't understand why. He was injured a little bit last year. As we know, Gio Bernard, he is now on Tampa Bay. Therefore, the next guy up for me is going to be, I don't even know how to say his name, Samaji.
Naji Perrin?
Yep, there you go. I know Perrin. I know. I was thinking
his brother. We talked about LaMichael. This is his brother.
This is his brother. There you go. So I know LaMichael, right? Because he actually, showed me something. However, I think this brother, I'm not gonna try to say his name every time and embarrass myself. His brother on the Bengals now. I think he's in a really good spot to at least succeed. The Bengals offensive line, I'm still not obviously sold. Joe Burrow got injured last year, and you would think maybe draft one of the top tackles instead of getting a wide receiver. But what the fuck do I know? I just sit here. Okay, I'm not a GM, right? So I would have took a offensive tackle, and I didn't. I'm not in the office.
Offensive tackles don't sell jerseys, though. That's why they did it. Jamar Chase sells jerseys and tickets.
Since he does need that, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So, also not bad uniform this year. I still prefer the old one. I didn't think the uniform was bad, but I prefer the old one. But I think he has a really good chance to succeed here, even though the Bengals offense is not that great. He might, as soon as Gio goes down, I think he's gonna be a great waiver wire ad. I think Joe Mixon's going to get injured sometime. So I think once again, plus I don't like him as a running back. I think he was horrible. They had him and Gio sharing carries anyway, so I can see that definitely happening going in. So I think he can be one of those guys that you just never heard of, and just he might fucking win you something. Any last thoughts before we start closing out? Any last thoughts? Anything you want to get off your chest? Let's say you're going to die tomorrow and you have a fantasy football take that you just need to get off your chest right then and there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just touch on the rookie running back class as a whole. I didn't really like them when I was scouting for the draft, so not much has changed since then. There's definitely guys I like more than – there's definitely guys that I liked that we didn't even mention, as opposed to some guys that we did mention. But to be a successful running back in the NFL, it's I guess 50% skill, but also 50% your team, your offensive line, your coaching, the play system. So that's what's going to make these guys different from the rest. So, I mean,
I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's going to be more. And, being a running back in the league, unless you are one of these top ones, it's going to take some years. You got to get settled, and you really got to get into a good system. You talked about getting on a good team, hopefully an offensive or a team with, offensive line, so Cam, anything special you want to say before we leave? I'm sure you're going to get flack for the J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards.
It's actually something else I want to bring up,
okay.
Jeremy. I totally agree. Being a good running back in fantasy, it's like 50%, the talents of yourself, 50% the situation. And Alex doesn't know a damn thing about football. Joe Mixon is one of the most talented running backs in the NFL. The
Have you
situation.
seen him as a fantasy running back? He sucks.
He is so good. Joe Mixon
He
is
sucks.
so good at football. It's
sucks.
ridiculous. He can
sucks.
make anyone miss, can truck over anyone. You don't know anything. If you've watched him, he's so good.
Yeah, you want me to sit there and watch Bengals football when Joe Mixon's out there?
You're watching Raiders football?
That's different. I'm a Raiders fan.
You might as well. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but you know what? I've grown into that. I've grown into watching Raiders football and just hoping for the best and expecting the worst. That's literally my life as a Raiders fan. Joe Mixon's not. I'm sorry, he is not a good fan. He might be a good running back, but fantasy running back, no, I hate it.
He's one of the most talented running backs in the NFL. His situation is bad. I think, if they can somehow turn this around, this offense, top 10 easy. Top 10 easy.
I'll take that bet. I'll take a top 10 bet. I'll take that bet. What do you want to bet on that? I will bet. I'll buy a Bengals shirt or something. Or Joe. I won't buy a jersey because I'm not buying a fucking Joe Mixon. I will buy a Joe Mixon shirt-ish thing, Bengals thing. Well, I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet. I'll buy a Joe Mixon if Joe Mixon touches the top 10.
Joe Mixon punched a girl in college. Don't do that. Buy a Carl Nassib jersey if Joe Mixon's top 10.
I'll do that. Carl Nassib jersey.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
That's become like a thing with vendettas. Instead of putting money down for bets, we just say we'll buy a jersey or a jersey. I think that's cool.
I think that's especially
if you got the guy.
Lately. I've been trying to get Jared to bet me.
Jared won't
bet me. I hate
the honest bet with Jared's son. I think that's cool.
Yeah, so I'll take that. I'll take that. Carl Nassib jersey if Joe Mixon takes top 10, and I will wear that jersey. So it's not a big thing. It's just, I gotta spend money for that shit. So all right. I think that's gonna be it for this show. This is the Ballz Deep Fantasy Show. This is our second episode. We are live every episode, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Come join us. As you can see on the bottom here, we actually have comments. We see the comments. We like to interact with comments. So please come back next week on next Tuesday. I got Kamran Moos with me. First time on the show. Jeremy Rinaldi, returning person on the show. And we got Courtney Plummer in the back. Well, not in the back, but in the producer booth. I don't know what it's called. She's making it all work over here, doing all the tech stuff that I could never figure out, even if I took a whole class on it. I am your host, Alex Chick, and that's going to be it.